So, first week, first week, first module of environmentally sustainable manufacturing has now been uploaded on Canvas, and in a little bit, the content drop is about to go live. So, I'm recording this video to basically provide a little bit of guidance and a little bit of a narrative of sort of how phase one is going, how it's intended to go, and provide additional information to you guys as we go through it. So in this video, I want to talk about what's inside of this week's content drop and the content drop concept. We're going to talk about the syllabus quiz, what the workshops and consultations are that are mentioned in the syllabus and was mentioned on opening day. So again, this goes back to workshops and consultations should be an outcome of having read the syllabus, but we'll talk about that then. And then the tool for capturing availability, which is basically setting up phase two. We're going to talk about that as well and go over that together. So this is to provide context and information on how to sort of navigate these week by week in phase one. So the concept of content drops. So for any course that goes through the phase one, phase two modality, and I'm working on a better catchier name to describe what we're actually doing right now. But again, to reiterate, the purpose of this phase 1-2 is based upon a lot of stuff. It's basically based upon 5 years of continuous improvement cycles and measuring and reaching conclusions. So can go over a couple of those, and I guess you can sort of jump around a little bit if you're not super interested or if you're tired of hearing this. But part of it is that during COVID and after COVID, the pandemic lockdowns, that led to basically an expectation of people to be able to work in a way that is described as asynchronous or remote, which means that, and trust me, this was a thing before. It's just that it was regarded as an exotic skill set that was worth a lot of money, by the way. But it was regarded as an exotic skill set, while now it's moving into being an expectation of the professional. So this is something that, just like computer literacy and other things, this is something I want to build up in you, the ability to work asynchronously, but also using it to your own advantage. And what this means is that we're identifying what parts of the current enterprise activities or business activities or school activities, what of those actually have to be synchronized in terms of time and place, time only, place only, etc., etc. And like I said, this is a multifaceted thing. So why do companies, why do enterprises, why do education embrace this? Like, why is it a thing altogether? Again, all of these are interlinked, and it's all based upon observation that happens on sort of a strategic, operational, tactical level decisions. Like, it has ramifications in each one. But a lot of it is that you might have heard this didn't need to be a meeting. It could be in an email. I mean, that's one part of it. Another is that we're moving into, and again, this is a great thing to talk about out loud, and a concept that's worth exploring and arguing is that you cannot charge money for information anymore. And arguably, there is not a significant part, but there's a part of all college, university, all education courses that is transfer of information. Now, if you can't charge for information anymore, that means that I cannot demand things from you to transfer this information. I mean, I cannot demand certain things. How about that? That you still have to consume and make that information yours and start processing it into knowledge. But things like you have to be in Lakewood in room 206 at 7:30 for me to say this once to you, and it's on you to somehow capture this at that moment in time, that becomes problematic because it's not something that you can get and charge money for. What can you charge money for? Well, application and integration. So that same information, an application based upon it, or an integration of that information into another system, that you can charge money for. So I started having a wonderful discussion with a junior engineer or a student, um, where we were talking about, well, I mean, this is charging money for information. Yeah, but and it's not. Like, what you're charging for is that you distilled this information together. Like, you took a whole bunch of information, you put it together in a consumable format, and you presented that to somebody. What they're paying you for is not the information itself; it's the presentation of it. So, anyways, so for phase one, here we're now going to take care of the information transfer in a way where, I mean, you still have to do it. That's part of the course, but you kind of get to pick the time, the place, the circumstances, and how fast you go through this. If you want to go over it a million times, a single time, um, and how you want to process that, is to your availability or based upon your preferences. Um, it's also in such a way that it allows you to do other activities during phase one. Again, I highly recommend everybody having an industry-related job uh, to um, to contrast to what you're doing in the program. But I mean, if you want to sit at home and play Xbox, or if you have a non-related job to this, all of those are good. Again, I think it's excellent to try to get through this without building up any debt or any deficits, and also being able to juggle things like family priorities, sports, hobbies, activities, work, etc. Basically, this is part, because it goes well with the MEC 310 concept, that this is part of being able to do three-pillar sustainability, is that we change certain ways how we do things in order to work on our sustainability. So, uh, so why then content? So hence the content drop. This is module by module, and currently it's week by week, uh, where I release this week's information that I want you to go through. There will be assignments involved as well of activity, but again, they're asynchronous, so you get to decide how you do it. The only thing that is the actual outcome that I'm looking for and the time that I need that outcome. Those I've specified, but the rest is sort of up to you. That's asynchronous. Um, so so that's what we do during phase one. And the content drop, an important aspect again is when it comes to doing things asynchronously, like this skill set that I'm developing in you and in myself, that is valuable to employers, is that there's certain things that we have to keep in mind. Is that you cannot take what you've always done before or how you do things in a synchronous world. You can't just port that over. You can't just copy paste that over. It's not going to work. These are brand new frontiers and new tools that we have to develop, new methods of working with things. And one of the things that I've identified is critical to doing asynchronous work is that things are running on schedules and running on fixed sort of points in space, both time, locations, and other things. And the number of points you specify, that is, that's what we're modulating depending on if they're necessary or not. This works very well with working with AIs, machines, and different cyber physical, cyber digital systems. Is again, everything is based around a timestamp. So each content drop is scheduled just because that allows you to manage your asynchronous schedule and your synchronous schedule, because in order for all of these things to fit, that's the way to organize it, around timestamps. And I know that might not be the best explanation, but I think we'll notice in action, and we'll talk more about this as well. So the scheduled content drop for MEC 310 is on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. That's basically when things go live. So as of 9 a.m. on Wednesdays, you can start digging through what was released. So let's look at Canvas then. What do we have inside this week's content drop? I'm going to bring that up here, bring it over, and a little bit of a pause here. Could have, I guess, paused the video. So inside of week one, that was last week when we met and we talked about sort of opening day or so. Week two, this is week we're currently in. At 9, this thing goes live. It gets published. And this is the content basically that we have for this week. So this is going to be a link here. So you click this and that will have inside of it a URL that you can copy paste into your browser, and that will link to this video. Now that's a little bit of a catch-22. Like if I need this orientation to find that video, how am I watching this video? Well, I will be posting this video as well in Discord for you to watch. We have an assignment that's due for this week. So we click on that. You can see here the purpose of this assignment is to check in with your instructor via Discord during the associated course workshop opportunity. And the environmental sustainability workshop is Mondays, 7:30 to 11:30. So I want you to reach out to me and have a 10-15 minute conversation at some point during that workshop time next Monday. So reach out to me, MEC Carl on Discord. If you have time sensitivity, reach out and schedule. Let's say that like I really need to do this at 10, between 10 and 10:10 or 10:15. Reach out to me and we will put that down so that you have a guaranteed time. You can also catch me in the Carl conference room at the bottom of Discord. So things move around a little bit sometimes. But if we look at our Discord server, it will be at the very bottom here, Carl's conference room. You can jump in there if you see my bubble being in here, and we can chat. But again, we can also chat person to person through any of Discord's different tools. So in this conversation, I want to go over with you the start of the quarter, current progress, and talk about phase 1 and phase 2. So once we've done that, I'll update your grade on Canvas and give you points. Now, if you're unable to check in during the workshop hours, reach out to me to schedule time prior to the deadline of that assignment. So then we'll find some other time, this weekend, days, whatever, reach out and we'll find an appropriate time. So that's the assignment for this week. So prior to next Wednesday, you and I have had to have this talk. There's a read this. There's a sustainability transition that is also referenced in this week's lecture. So this is an article I want you to read. So you can click this. Again, Canvas is sketchy when it comes to dealing with links. So I usually, download these things instead of trying to reach it here. But again, if you're having problems with opening or loading or doing any of these things, getting this PDF, again, reach out to me. But you can also, again, talk to Mike, Nate, Jason, anybody on campus as well. But again, don't get trapped on things. Reach out to somebody as fast as possible. Again, like never sit more than 15 minutes with a problem without moving forward towards the solution. So that's a reading assignment for you guys to read for this week. And then we have Phase 1, Module 1. These are the slides that are used in the lecture. So again, for reference material and for transparency, here you guys have the slides that I use in Phase 1, Module 1 lecture on YouTube. So again, you open this, basically you click it. Inside of here will be a link. And you basically highlight that and you copy and paste that into a new window. And then that's this week's lecture. So that is what's inside of this week's content drop. So one new lecture video for Module 1, this video link here with appropriate slides. Um, there is this video that talks about the content drop in phase one, and you have an article to read and one new assignment, which is a Discord check-in. So that's on the part. That's what's inside of this week's content drop and sort of what we have to do until or before next Wednesday. Syllabus quiz. Please read the syllabus. It has a lot of this information, again, in terms of when the workshops are, content drops, and all that. And a lot of other sort of pertinent information. Take the quiz, get some points for reading it. And then also, again, if you have any questions on this, reach out to me, and we'll figure it out. Workshops and consultations. What are these workshops? So again, one of them is going to be doing an assignment of basically having a conversation on one of these workshops. But the workshops and consultations are there to help you schedule. So first of all, I'm sitting in phase one. I'm sitting by the computer monitoring Discord and my email to actively support you in whatever you need during that time. So it's a scheduled time where you have my undivided attention. Other part of that is that it could help you if you want to balance work with family, with education, with all of these things. Those can help you put down when you want to work on the subjects, the courses that you're taking. I would expect that you spend about 8 hours a week per subject that you're taking. So if you're taking 2 classes, that's 16 hours a week. And they don't have to be consecutive hours, but that's part of the time that even in phase one that you should be spending on reading things, contemplating things, researching things, looking things up, having discussions with one another. And those workshops and consultation periods, sometimes they will be scheduled where you have to do an activity there, or I suggest you do an activity there. So they're not mandatory, but they are made available to you. So that's the room and void that they fill. They're there for they're there for working with me, for working with each other, to help schedule and to show an expectation of time. But there is also a tool and an enablement for you guys to work on different weekly activities. So again, for the programming class, that's one where, that's when you can come in, sit down, connect to your computer, or CAD is another one. Sit down and just, CAD things, link up, coordinate with people on Discord so you can all meet up and work on these things together. That's what the workshops and consultation periods are for. Preparation for phase two then. So popping up, and I will announce things both as announcements on Canvas, but also in the appropriate Discord channel per class or per course. There will be dropping a link, a when to meet link, during this week. So I want to talk to you also about your availability. So this is sort of outside the content drop because it's this has to do with basically us setting up phase two, which is the in-person part of the quarter, when we do all the labs together and portfolio pieces and reinforce in action with our hands what was presented or expressed in phase one. So again, we're the application side, the practical side of this program is actually getting bigger than what it has been historically. So there will be a link dropping per course. It will say here, so we can look at this test example here. It was a test of availability machine. This is me experimenting, but there will be a sort of a MEC 310 environmental sustainability, and it will look something like this. Perhaps this might be all blank or might be open. So I want you to open this link, and it will be posted on Canvas and in the Discord chat, and put in your name. And perhaps you want to do first and and just first and the first letter of your last name, or you can put down your whole name. Again, keep in mind that other students will be able to see your name, but I need to be basically be able to identify that you filled out your availability. So please do that. Pick a name that I will recognize, and then you pick a password, and once you put in this name and password, that gets saved for this particular form, and you have to remember it if you want to, once you put this in, there's no way of getting it back. So I'm going to first and start with last name, and I'm going to put in a password that I'll be able to remember, and we hit sign in, and it's not creating a count or anything like that. It's just keeping us separated on the schedule here. And then we have Sunday through Saturday, or Monday through Sunday, schedule from 5 a.m. till midnight. I want you to identify and put down your availability that you can guarantee for basically from week 6 of this quarter until the end of the quarter. So let's say here I have between 5 and 7 on Sundays, and on Mondays, like all week between 5 and 7. Let's say that I can have that availability. So again, you give me something to work with here, because again, you're going to need at least per course 2 4-hour windows. So perhaps 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll put down till 9. Like there is a 4-hour window that I have. Put down, and I'm basically just clicking here, and if you click again, it'll go away. You can also drag and drop. Put down all the availability that you have that you can guarantee, and you're going to need at least, again, 2 4-hour windows per course that you're taking. So if you're currently taking 2 MEC classes, you're going to need 4 4-hour windows in your availability where you can meet up for labs. So let's say 5 to 9 a.m. I can do that. And let's say I go to work at 10, let's say, and I get off work at 6. So then from 6:30 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 10, I have availability there. But on Wednesdays, I have my bowling league. In the evenings, I can't do that. And on Fridays, I have this other commitment regularly. Can't do that. So that would be my availability. And then you're done. Then you don't have to do anything more than that. Now, if you are taking multiple classes, your availability should be the same. So just put down the same availability for both. Don't try to create one availability for one course and then a different one for the other. Just put down what your availability is. I will be able to cross-reference you across your multiple MEC courses and make sure that we don't get any scheduling conflicts, or as few as possible at least, and we'll work out our phase 2 schedule. So this link will show up on Canvas and be linked in Discord. There's one per class that you're taking. Go to it, pick a username that is your first and last name, or first name and just initial last name. Pick a password that you'll remember. Fill out your availability that you can guarantee from week to week to week, from approximately week 5 until the end of the quarter. So after, what would be the, let's see what date that is. Basically from sort of the 28th of October until the end of December, what that availability is. Put that down. And if you're taking multiple courses, again, we're looking for 2 4-hour windows per week from 5 a.m. to midnight, Monday through Sunday. Put down the same availability for both courses, and I will find you and cross-reference you to make sure that you don't get double scheduled. And again, please think of this is as flexible as I can make it. It's not quite a personal schedule, but if you're taking these courses, the expectation is that you would have a required availability to participate in these courses anyways. So So yeah, no, it's not going to be perhaps super ideal, but at least that this is as flexible as I can make it. Um, so fill that out, and then you're good. And I'll be again looking at how many people I have. When I have everybody, I'll start scheduling out and communicating to you as quick as possible when the different phases will happen. Sorry, not when the difference, like what the actual schedule is. Like MEC 310, for example, we will have labs on this day and this day for every week between this time and this time. And again, we're looking for a fixed schedule for phase two that has everybody's availability in mind. Um, what else? What else? And we're gonna just put that over here. Um, what do I do if I have any problems filling this out, or I don't understand what you're talking about when it comes to the availability part, or blocks of time, 4 hours, this and that? Just hit me up on Discord. We'll set up a voice share screen. And we can do this when to meet link together. We can fill it out together and just do it in real time together to make sure that it works out well. So, if you have any problems. So, that's a walkthrough of this week's content drop and the activities that are coming up, and again a little bit more background information to the phase one, phase two thing. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to me on Discord, and I'm looking forward to talking to all of you at one point or another before next Wednesday. Thank you very much.